Archaeologists estimate the total length of all wall sections across China exceeds 13,000 miles. This structure is not a single, continuous line but a series of disconnected fortifications stretching from the Shanhaiguan Pass on the coast to the Jiayuguan Pass in the west. For centuries, these barriers have faced extreme weather, shifting sands, and relentless human conflict. Most people view the wall as a symbol of isolation, yet it functioned as a sophisticated tool of geopolitical management. The construction required the labor of hundreds of thousands of soldiers, peasants, and convicts over 2 millennia. This massive undertaking was not merely a response to an enemy, but a calculated method of controlling trade, movement, and taxation. Understanding the wall requires looking past the stone and mortar to the logistics of empire. Here's why that matters. The necessity for fortification began with the rise of nomadic confederations in the Eurasian steppe. Groups such as the Xiongnu and later the Mongols maintained a highly mobile cavalry lifestyle, making them difficult to engage in traditional infantry warfare. During the Qin Dynasty, around 221 BCE, Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered the connection of existing regional walls to create a unified northern defense. This era marked the transition from feudal warfare to centralized imperial defense. The wall served as a physical boundary between the agrarian civilization of the Central Plains and the pastoralist societies of the north. These nomadic groups utilized rapid cavalry strikes to raid agricultural settlements for grain, livestock, and silk. The wall provided a fixed line of resistance that neutralized the speed advantage of horse-mounted warriors. Construction materials varied by geography, utilizing rammed earth in the western deserts and kiln-fired bricks in the eastern mountains. The Ming Dynasty, ruling from 1368 to 1644, responsible for the most recognizable stone sections, expanded the network to its maximum complexity. These Ming fortifications integrated watchtowers, garrisons, and signal stations into a singular defensive system. The Great Wall functioned as an ancient high-speed communication network. Watchtowers were positioned at regular intervals, typically between 200 and 500 meters apart, to ensure visual contact. Soldiers used smoke signals during the day and fire signals at night to transmit messages across hundreds of miles. A single signal could alert the imperial capital of an invasion in a fraction of the time a messenger on horseback would require. This rapid notification system allowed the empire to mobilize professional troops to specific breach points. Beyond defense, the wall acted as a sophisticated customs and border control system. It allowed the imperial government to monitor the movement of people and goods along the Silk Road. By forcing traders through specific mountain passes, the state could effectively collect tariffs and taxes on imported luxury goods. This controlled movement ensured that the empire could track the flow of silver, spices, and textiles. The wall also functioned as a logistics corridor, providing a raised, paved surface for the rapid transport of troops and supplies through rugged terrain. Common historical narratives often misinterpret the wall as a tool of absolute isolationism. In reality, the wall was a mechanism for regulating interaction rather than preventing it entirely. It functioned as a filter that facilitated controlled trade while minimizing the risk of uncontrolled raids. The presence of the wall actually encouraged the growth of market towns and garrison economies along its perimeter. These settlements became hubs of cultural exchange between the sedentary Chinese population and the nomadic tribes. Furthermore, the wall was not always effective at stopping large-scale invasions. The Mongol conquest under Genghis Khan and the Manchu conquest during the Ming Dynasty demonstrated that a wall cannot stop a determined military force. The wall's failure was often political rather than structural. If the central government lacked the resources to man the towers, the physical barrier became irrelevant. The effectiveness of the wall was directly tied to the economic stability and administrative strength of the dynasty in power. The Great Wall represents a massive investment of human capital and state resources. The construction of the Ming sections alone required a workforce that rivaled the size of entire provincial populations. This massive mobilization of labor served a secondary purpose of reinforcing state authority over the peasantry. By demanding labor for national defense, the central government asserted its control over local resources and manpower. The wall also shaped the geography of China, dictating where cities were built and where agricultural expansion was possible. The defensive line effectively defined the northern limits of the Chinese heartland for centuries. Today, the wall serves as a primary symbol of national identity and a massive driver for the global tourism industry. It stands as a physical manifestation of the tension between settled and nomadic lifestyles. The engineering principles used in its construction, such as the use of glutinous rice flour in mortar for the Ming sections, demonstrate an advanced understanding of material science. The Ming Dynasty's approach to the wall was significantly different from the earlier Qin dynasty. They moved away from simple rammed earth to a heavy use of kiln-fired bricks and stone blocks. This transition allowed for much higher and more durable fortifications capable of withstanding heavy siege engines. To support these massive structures, the Ming established a permanent military presence in remote border regions. These soldiers were often granted land in the borderlands to create self-sustaining agricultural colonies. This Tuntian system ensured that the troops were fed without relying solely on long, vulnerable supply lines from the capital. The logistical complexity of maintaining these garrisons required a massive bureaucracy to manage grain distribution and troop rotations. This integration of military and agricultural labor was essential for the long-term viability of the northern frontier. The Great Wall was not a static barrier, but a dynamic tool of imperial management. It regulated trade, facilitated communication, and defined the